Hey there, welcome. If you've ever wrestled with brittle workflows, you'll love this. Unmeshed gives our user detailed monitoring when you need it, the ability to scale without limits, and reliable operations that just work. Let's jump in. A step is executed as part of a process when you run the process. A step goes through a typical lifecycle of getting scheduled, moving into a running state, and finally completing or moving to a failed state if an error occurs. Unmeshed offers you a comprehensive error policy mechanism that you can attach to each of these steps such that you can trigger additional actions when different circumstances happen. For example, if a step is moved to a schedule state and it fails to start in a particular point of time, you can capture that using a start timeout event. Similarly, you can also capture a response timeout event, which means the process has started and the runner did not respond in a particular amount of time. And you can also have a catch-all completion timeout, which is basically when, regardless of the number of times the step is being retried, based on the policy set on start and response, the step hasn't completed. You have an overall policy of 5 minutes for the step to complete, and the step is continuously retrying for the last 5 minutes, and has crossed that 5-minute threshold, it will trigger a timeout event for the completion. Our documentation clearly highlights how you can configure an error policy. An error policy consists of 4 types of configurations: start timeout, completion timeout, response timeout, and failed config. It is optional to have all of these. And depending on what is present in your policy and what is attached to the step, the corresponding logic will apply. To understand what a start timeout does, you can check out our documentation for start timeout configuration. In a nutshell, it can do 3 things when this event timeout happens. 1 is to fail the process. 2nd is to retry based on the configuration. And 3rd is to do nothing. Do nothing is useful when you use it in combination with a run request, where you just want to run another request and continue to keep the step in that particular state. When you retry, the state is reset. A brand new timeout is tracked from the point where it retries. Start timeout and response timeout are very similar. They have the same kind of configuration, but are triggered under different circumstances. Response timeout is when somebody has already started the work, but haven't managed to respond in the particular amount of time that you wanted. A completion timeout is the overall catch-all timeout, where you can again either do nothing and just trigger a run request, or fail the process, which is the default operation. Failed configuration is not attached to any timeouts. It's when the step moves into a fail state. You can do multiple things with the fail configuration, such as let the step continue to fail, which is the default option, or you can retry it, which resets the state into its original state and continues to attempt to run the step. And none is where you can use the run request to run something and continue to keep the step in a fail state. When you trigger a process request with any of the configurations that we stated, you can specify the following parameters, which are very similar to what you would use when you trigger a process for the first time. In addition to these parameters that you specify, the input would also contain context of what happened to the source step, which triggered this process, which can be used to do different things in your process. For example, you could trigger a process that sends out an email, and you can compose the subject and body line based on the type of error that happened, thereby giving enough information to the user who is observing this process. If this was helpful, check out our other quick guides to explore more features. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel or visit our docs for the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.